Alt 2. Here we are. So, greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. We get together on a regular basis every Tuesday morning. We have done for, I don't know, roughly 5 years, 6 years now. And we like to explore our discoveries together. We like to share information. We like to do a little business together. We like to help each other. So for me, it certainly has been worthwhile. So this morning, we are going to talk about Google A/B testing. However, in the meantime, let's do some introductions. And this morning I'll start at the other end. So, Fred, how would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you very much, Lolan. I'm Fred Jones, the creator of our Future Leaders, where we assist young people to gain leadership skills, communication skills, self-confidence, to become the leaders that our world so dramatically needs. So I'm
Mm,
located on Vancouver Island at the moment on my friend's boat, hiding away from COVID-19. So,
right
and
on.
I'm always enjoy coming here. So that's
And
me.
and the author of Notes from a Nomad.
Yeah, notes of a nomad. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I travel around, but unfortunately, COVID-19 has stopped
right.
that at the moment. But
Yeah. Well, we were just saying a few minutes ago, I guess before we came on, some of us are not as affected by staying home and doing things at home because we work online anyway. So we're not affected in quite the same way as a lot of other people may be. So, but I do know that you're missing your trips to California and Australia. So right on. So, Alanna, why don't you introduce yourself? We know that Alanna is going to do a little bit of a share this morning, but go ahead and introduce yourself if you wish.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Alanna Birmingham, coming to you from Ireland, and I will be doing the Google A/B testing presentation today. Um, so my company is ALB Digital Marketing Solutions, where I write copy and help small businesses with their websites.
Hang on. So I'm happy you're here, and I'm happy that you're going to share what you've been studying up on. So looking forward to that. Okay, Vivek.
Namaste. My name is Vivekanand. I am proud to share my belief with Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci, who said, simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication. I aim to bring time tested wisdom and happiness together into your business and life by unifying, simplifying, and amplifying simple technology and tools. Wake Technology is my company. Together, let us wake up our potential. So that's my introduction. I am in England, United Kingdom. The weather has become really cold for my liking anyway. And yeah, we are in a lockdown situation. So most of us are supposed to be at home, but I do find the car traffic on the road has not decreased much.
Right.
So I wonder what's going on.
Well, I mean, that's one way to leave home and get out and about is to do it in your car, and you don't have to interact with anybody
Mm.
when you're doing that. So, yeah, that's understandable. So, welcome here, Vivek. And we all know that waking up people's potential, everybody has lots of potential, don't we? Know that, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, David.
Good morning. I'm Dave Flannery with Affordable Websites for Small Businesses here in Rock Falls, Illinois, where the sun's shining for the first time in about, I don't know, about 2-3 weeks. And we're all going to have a nice warm day of about, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 degrees above zero in centigrade. So good to be here.
Right on. And before I forget, Javita is with us in YouTube this morning. Good morning, Javita. Nice to see you there. And last but not least, there is Matthew. Got in just in time. So Matthew, how would you like to introduce yourself?
Good morning, I'm Matthew. As you know, I'm president of Coastline Marketing here in Victoria, where the sky is gray and the drizzle is steady. But that's all right. New things are coming for all of us in this world, as well as here locally and in this group. And I think it's amazing to be here. So thanks for having me in this group. I think it's an awesome group.
We think so too. So, in terms of a favorite expression here in Victoria is, well, it's raining, it's raining. Well, you at least you don't have to shovel it. So that's one way to deal with it. Oh, David, you have your hand up.
Hello, Lan. I don't think you introduced yourself.
Oh, well, I did say we were the being your own CEO, but yes, I'm Lolan, and also in Victoria, and always enjoying learning new things. And one of the things that I've been working on in the last few days, and David was there to support me, because I find sometimes when you're working on something, to have somebody else with you somehow makes it more enjoyable. So I've been working on videos, and I posted them. There's a new video on the website, and I posted it in almost everywhere else, just for the fun of it. So yeah, fun to. I see this as a way for solopreneurs to promote their business. So right on. Thank you for reminding me, Vivek. And
Yes.
David, you got your hand up.
Yes, we have Eileen in the chat, and she says, Happy New Year to everybody, to all of us beautiful people.
Well, good morning, Eileen Smith. Long time no see. How nice to have you. So I'm wondering where you found the link or found the message. Maybe it was in my posting in the Tinkering with Tech group. I don't know. Anyway, so getting on with what we are going to talk about this morning. It's quite some time ago that Alanna did say that she discovered something that she thought would be of interest to us. So I did a little bit of research, not a whole lot, but what the heck is Google A/B testing anyway? So what I found was another term for it is split testing. So by comparing two versions of your website to see which one works the best. So that seemed to be the simplest definition I could find. So having said that, I guess my question I would throw out to you, Alanna, would be, when would you want to use it?
Well, I think the best time to use it is when you have a page that you want to try to optimize and you want to try out different buttons. So there's different ways that you can use it depending on what you want to achieve. So testing buttons is one way, and that's actually part of one of my slides. But Yeah, so it just gives you an opportunity to change things up a little bit and see how visitors respond to them, and see if that's worth making a change for.
So, but that assumes that they're visiting. So I'm guessing that A/B testing is really not useful for increasing your traffic.
Yeah, you want to have established traffic on your site. It's not going to do you any good if you just start a website and
Right.
you've only got 20 people coming to your site, or less than 100, or even less than 1,000. I don't think it's going to be worth it. But if you have more than that, and you have a well-established site, that's when you want to start doing A/B testing.
So then, and you mentioned buttons. So in a kind of a way, based on what you just said, I would guess that what you're looking for, the reason you would do it, is why that you want to increase your conversions.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got to have lots of traffic first, though.
Definitely.
Yeah. So you sounded like you had a slide presentation that you were going to use.
Yeah, I have a couple of slides, and then I was going to do a short demo.
Okay, so go ahead. And in the meantime,
so,
while you're doing that, I'll just say that Alanna, Eileen says, I saw you were live in my YouTube subscription feed. Cool. So maybe Alanna and Matthew and Fred and maybe even David maybe don't know Eileen, but I know that Vivek and I have known Eileen for a long time.
Okay, so if it's okay with you, I'm going to share my screen.
Go ahead.
Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I am just looking for one more screen that I'm looking for. Hang on one sec. This one. Okay. Okay, so Google A/B testing. The reason why it sounds like a complicated thing, but actually it's a really cool tool. I think people get very put off by by the term Google A/B testing or A/B testing in general. Because when you start talking about split testing, I know the first time I heard it, I was like, oh God, no. So I'm going to move on here to my next slide. Okay, so the reason why you want to use Google A/B testing is, like we talked about earlier, for buttons and that sort of thing. And really you're taking the original version of a page in your website, and the A/B testing tool allows you to create a duplicate of that and make changes to it. So the original version is version A, and the second version is version B, which is going to be the modified version of version A.
Okay, can I stop you and ask a question? So this
Yes.
Google A/B testing, is it a plugin?
No, it's not really a plugin. It's something that you sign up for, but there's an optimizer, what is it called? Extension on Google Chrome that you need to have installed as well.
Okay.
So for the call to action, it's a lot of people use A/B testing for calls to action because they want to test out buttons, the text on the buttons, or different colors on the buttons, because some people respond better to a certain color or a certain type of text. So if you have a button that says, click here versus find out now, you want to know if you can do two different versions of that and see the results of a test as far as who clicks on the find out now button versus who clicks on the click here button. And it's also more recommended that you only do a test with like one variant at a time. So there are a few prerequisites here before you use the tool. So you need to have Google Analytics on your site to start, and you also have to be signed up for Google Tag Manager. And so you have to have the Tag Manager on your site, and you have to have Google Analytics installed, and you also have to have the Optimize ID as well.
So what the heck is a tag manager?
Well, the Tag Manager is something, it's kind of like a newer version of Google Analytics.
Okay.
That's probably the best way, the simplest way to describe it.
Mhm.
So before you get started with the Optimizer tool, you have to actually install the extension for the your Google Chrome browser. Now, when you do this, this actually allows you to make those changes and see the page that you can change. And this is the link here. So if you wanted to get started with the testing, you go to the optimizegoogle.com, optimize/home and accounts, and you get started with that on that site there. There's another way you can go in as well. If you went into your Google Analytics and you see the list of all the different I'm losing my brain. There's Google Analytics. There's maybe I should just show it to you if I can get there. See if I can get there.
Oh, you don't mean
The platform. Yeah. So if you go into the platforms, if you scroll down here, you can also get it here. So when you open your Google Analytics account before you sign in, you can see you have Analytics here, you have Optimize here, and you have Tag Manager here. So these are the two things that you're going to need, Optimize and Tag Manager, along with Google Analytics to make the Optimizer tool work. So I'll just flip back to my screen here. Okay, so when you go in there, you just...
Alanna, just so you know,
Yeah.
In order to show another screen, you have to stop screen sharing and then show the other page, like that other page that you were trying to show, it didn't show up.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's okay. Thank you. Thanks for telling me about that. Okay. I thought you guys saw what I could see. All right. So to see a demo, let's see. Go back one. All right. So let me do a demo here, and I'm going to have to change screens. So I'll stop sharing for a second, and then I'll pull up the demo screen.
Right.
Okay. I think that's the one. Yeah. Share screen.
Here we go.
Okay. So can everybody see my optimized screen here?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're in Optimize, this is my container here. So it has my name here, and this is my container, and this is my container ID. So now the three things to make this work is it's going to be your container ID that needs to be put onto your website, and it's a little piece of code. There's the Google Analytics, of course, and then there's the Tag Manager. So I'm just going to click here. So I already have mine set up. So for this, I already created a test. So if you were to come in here and want to create a test, you would simply click on Create Experience there. Okay. So this is one I've already pre-set up. So what I had done here was I took a page on my website that gets a lot of hits, and I wanted to just for demonstration purposes, I decided I would just simply change a heading. So I named it here a subheading test. So if you want it, when you want to make a change to a certain page, this is where you go. So you would click here, and then you would name your test. So in my case, I named it subheading test. So if I go here to edit, it will show you how you can make changes on that page. This is going to be the version B. Okay, so you'll see here that this is the name of the test up here, subheading test. And over here, you can see these are the elements that you can actually change. So as I scroll down, you'll see that these are elements that I can change here. I can change text, I can change headings. I can probably swap out images as well. I haven't tested it, but I think I could. So what I had done here is I decided that I'm going to change this. So if I wanted to edit this element, I've actually already edited it, but you want to click there and then click edit text. So I can add here at the end. Okay, and then in the lower right corner, I click on finish. And so that's going to be my version B. And you can see up here that it notes that I made one change. So then once I've done all that, I click on save to save my change. And then I'm going to say finish. And then it's going to bring me back to the previous, actually run the test. Now I am not going to run the test in this particular case because you would click this start button here. So now the reason I'm not running this test is because I've had trouble with getting things to link up. So I had selected this page, and as you scroll down, you can see what's actually, I have my Google Analytics all set up. But here on the settings here for the optimized installation, it says that it's verified with errors. Now, this is what I've had trouble with in the last several days.
Oh.
So I have not been able to get that fixed. I had it fixed at one point only to realize I had the wrong tag in there. So when I went back to put in the right tag, everything went belly up. So I am not going to run this test, but if you wanted to run the test, you would go up here and click the start button. If I click the start button, it'll throw out some error messages. But this gives you an idea of how to get started and how to set up an A/B test.
So Alanna, once you do this, and you said that you're linked up with Amazon Analytic or Analytics, not
Google.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Google Analytics. So then once you're running the test, does it set up two different categories or something within Analytics? So you get to see, or where do you see what the result is?
See, now down here at the bottom, I have it set up to for email notifications.
Oh.
And because I haven't been able to actually run this test, I don't know the answer to that question.
Oh.
But because it has version 1 and 2, I'm guessing that it's going to be based on the original version here and the subheading test. So if I go here and view my original, you'll see that that heading is a different heading. So here it says if you get hired, as opposed to if you get hired by Lionbridge.
Right.
So those are that's the difference there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can see up here it says the original. So I'm not making any changes here. So you know that that's not, there's no changes there.
Looks like you've got a little message up there.
Yeah, that's the error message from the Google Analytics issue that I've been having, that I've been trying to fix for a while. But yeah, I tried a couple different things. I installed, there's a tag plugin. It's called Google Tag Manager plugin for WordPress, I think, something like that.
Right.
I might have it in my slide notes here.
Yeah.
And I installed that and I put the tag in there. But for what, I don't know why, but for some reason it's not cooperating. So that is how you run a test. And I wanted to see, I thought there was something else I wanted to show you.
And also Matthew has his hand up, so he may have a question.
Okay.
Yeah, hi, I just learned how to raise my hand. Alanna, this is fascinating. It looks like you'd have to be really organized to do this right. So I have a couple questions you may or may not know the answers to, but something I'd look for. One, is there a list of suggested changes that Google puts out? So like a hierarchy where if you make this change, it's most likely to have an impact versus if you make these changes, it's not going to be necessarily doing much for you?
Matthew, I heard most of that except the tail end. So what I got from your question is you're asking me if there's a way to set up different types of variants. And I think
Well,
if
yeah. Yeah.
okay, so if I set up another one for this same page, I'll just call it variant 2. And I'll say finished. So depending on what you want to change, I think I know where you're going with that. So if you wanted to change the audience here, so I can customize this. This I think is going to apply to everything I have on my list, not necessarily just variant 2. So there's rules that you can put in here. And I think this may answer your question, I'm not sure. So there are rules here. I haven't really tested these rules, but you can, like for instance, this one, there's target new versus returning visitors on those coming from specific referrers. You can test it by geography.
Wow.
And you can test it by, if you're really into the coding end, there's the query parameter, JavaScript variable, custom JavaScript, and that sort of thing. So there's tons and tons of things that you can actually test here.
Wow.
And here you can even test by mobile, tablet, or desktop device.
Wow.
There's a lot of different,
Well, my other question is, how long does the test run? Like, I guess it depends on how many people are coming. Like, what is their minimum universe or test audience? Do you know?
I don't know the answer to that, but I think you can check it down here.
Can you set it?
So here's the objective. So here's the thing too. When you're going into doing your A/B testing, right, you need to know what you want your result to be. So if you're going in, like in my case, in that particular very simple test, I just wanted to test to see which heading is more effective. Honestly, that's probably a test that would be moot because I don't think it's going to matter. That's not something that's really going to matter to my visitors. But if I wanted to change an image, or I think images would be something that you could test. And one of the things you can test is a carousel image, a carousel versus a static image. And getting back to the buttons, I think most people would use this tool for conversions to see where they could maximize their conversions. But in here on the objectives, you can set an objective. And again, I haven't actually played around with this. I'll just see what it says. So you can add an additional one, and I'll just say choose from the list and see what I get for a list. Okay, so again, this goes back to the whole conversion thing. So we have AdSense, impressions, clicks, revenue, bounces, and session duration. So that those are all things that you can choose to test. That could be an objective. Now, if you wanted to customize those objectives and create your own objective, I don't know how you go about doing that, but you can certainly set these up.
Just one last.
And then here I have for traffic allocation. So here's percentage of all visitors eligible for this experience is 100%. Activation event, choose when this experience is triggered. So I can choose this one, in this case is on page load. I don't know what that means if I change that out. Evaluate on, and again, it's a custom event. So you would have to customize that activation event.
Have you used this before, and have you found it to be like worth the time to put into it?
I can't remember how I came across it. I came across it a few months ago, and I thought it was very interesting because I was curious about A/B testing, but knowing, to me, it kind of made my head spin. I thought, oh my God, A/B testing. But since there was a tool out there that Google created, I thought it must be easy to use. Now, in saying that, it took me a while to get this all set up. And like I said, I have run into problems with the whole tagging issue and the getting them to connect. I know I had it connected at one point and then it had the wrong tag. So when I swapped out the tag, that's when everything went crazy again. So I know I can get it to work. It's just a matter of making the time to get it fixed. So I would use it. I would certainly use it from a conversion point of view. If I was someone that was selling Amazon products, as I have done in the past, if they had this test probably 5 years ago, I would have tested it because I did have Amazon products to sell. So I think from that point of view, it's a good thing to test, provided you've got the traffic.
So I see that Javita says in the comment section, it sounds like setting goals in Google Analytics.
I don't know if I would call it setting goals. I mean, I think everybody that is trying to convert, everyone who has things they're selling on their websites and they're trying to convert wants to do it the best way they can. So this gives you more insight into how your visitors land on your site and what they like.
Yeah.
So if you see people that are clicking on a red button versus an orange button, that people are responding more to red. Mm-hmm. And it kind of gets you further into the mind of your visitor.
Yes, I agree, Alanna. When you're setting goals up in Google Analytics, what you're doing is testing out how many people land on a specific page. And
yeah.
in this case, what you're doing is taking two versions of the same thing to see which one more people will click.
Yeah, and it kind of goes along what Google had set up a few years ago with the whole heat sensor things, where you could tell what part of a website page people were hovering over, clicking on, that sort of thing. I haven't used that. I remember reading about it, but I haven't used it.
Mm-hmm. Right on.
It's called heat maps. That's what it's called. It's called heat maps.
Right on. Yeah, I've never used it either. Heat maps. So yeah, I mean that's the and you mentioned the color of a button or whatever, but sometimes the language that you use on a button, you never know what people it's a way to find out how people respond to this or that. Yeah.
And it's funny because I've actually been taking notice more and more of what people put on their buttons as a result of this. And so when stuff lands in my mail account and it's got, a click here versus, find out now or whatever it is they're saying, I'm kind of making a note of my reaction to the buttons. Like, do I like that? Oh, do I want to click on that? And if I do click on it, what made me click on that?
Yeah.
So I'm actually thinking out that process.
Good point. Javita says, okay, got it, Alanna. So she gets the difference. Yeah. I'm still curious to know where we get the results.
Right. So I'm thinking that if I was able to do this test, that you would want to run this test for a week or two.
Yeah.
That would be because there is a section here. I'll just share my screen again real quick because there is something I can show you here. Screen 2. There it is.
Oh, in the meantime, Javita says heat maps are very easy to use and you get quick results.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you, Javita.
Yeah.
So up here, there's the details and there's a little tab here for reporting.
Oh.
So if I
Oh,
click on
okay.
reporting, that would give me the information I'm looking for. But here it says it's still in draft.
Yeah.
So I don't have anything to report yet. But I think from an A/B testing point of view, you'd want to run it for a week to 2 weeks,
Right. And so,
depending on what you're testing.
yeah. So, back in the details, was there a specific time? Did you enter a specific time, or do you just?
No, I don't know if you. I think that may be a manual process. Although here you can say schedule or start. So if I click here, I can probably schedule it if it will let me. It's probably going to throw up a message. Yeah, nothing's happening when I click on it here.
Interesting.
But there's also, I'm just going to click here. It says set up objectives. I think we already went through that.
Yeah.
But if I click on start, nothing is happening. And I think that's because I still have an issue with my connection. It says some setup steps must still be completed. So I'll have to go back and see that at another time. But you can see here that you can schedule it. So like you were asking before, you can probably schedule it to run on a weekend if you think that's when you get most of your conversions or your traffic. Run it over a weekend, or like a really good time to do it would be over like Christmas or a holiday of some sort, and see, get a little more information on your visitors and what, how they're accessing your site and visiting your site.
Well, and that's where Google Analytics comes in, because you could go in there and see when you get the highest traffic, and then use that information as you set this up. Yeah, right on.
But if you had a product you were selling at Christmas time, some whatever it was, and you wanted to sell it 2 different ways with 2 different buttons, you could see which one was more effective. So if you had like a buy now versus, click here thing, you could see which one's more effective, and then use that throughout the year.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, right on. So I've asked my questions. What about the other members of the group? Any questions that arise for you, Fred?
No, I just wanted to ask, is there any cost to this, like Google Analytics or something, or is this just part of being a member of, the Google family? Are there any fees?
Well, I think this is a Google tool that they provide for free. The fee would come in if you're involved in Google AdWords and that sort of thing. So, but that's a separate tool altogether. So you would have your credit card attached to that, and you would be, buying keywords and that sort of thing. So that's one of the things you can test here, but there's no fee attached to it.
Perfect. Matthew.
Yeah, I'm imagining, I'm sure they thought about this, but how does Google know there's not duplicate content? Like, if you're doing 2 pages with different content and they're essentially the same, doesn't that somehow penalize you for duplicate content somehow? I'm really curious how they do it.
Well, my theory on that would be, because you're using the optimized tool, and you have that optimized tool code in your site, that it would pick that up, because one of the tags, it's called GTM, I think, Google Tag Master or something like that, and it starts with GTM. So if Google reads, if you go into the source code of a page and you did a search on GTM, let's say, like if I did it on my homepage, I could show you that. It would come up with my tag. It'll show you my tag there. So Google would automatically see that, okay, I've got this tag in there and I'm using it to run a test, because that test is going to have a tag for that. So that's how I'm thinking, and I'm theorizing here, that Google knows the difference between duplicate content on your site and, running a test.
So it's basically the same page address, like you land on the same URL. It's just that Google delivers different content as a testing pattern. So one person will see one thing, the other person will see another.
Correct.
It's fascinating, but it's annoying too. You know why? Because I'm a writer. I'm a simple writer, and Google's dragging me into all this stuff, which is fascinating, and I need to do it. But,
well, that I hear what you're saying there, Matthew, and I agree with you. But from a writer's point of view, right?
I mean,
you do kind of want to know. It would be interesting if you were trying to bump up a page.
exactly.
And you had a paragraph that you could swap out for another paragraph to see how they
I have
behaved.
So thanks a lot.
You're welcome. That's what was running around in my brain, was if you wanted to optimize a page and you wanted to get more eyes on it, and you knew you could write it better. You could write, leave one page alone and put in another paragraph of something else, or swap out a paragraph and see which one does better. And if the new one does better, then that page is the better page. And that's the one you want to write better.
With the new page, and if it's not, and the original paragraph is better, then you stick with the original, and then you write another new paragraph and do another test and see, and keep going.
I mean, really, from a writer's point of view, you could do a lot of playing around with it, but it would probably wreck your head.
Well, actually, what I do it like when I'm writing copy, like advertising copy for clients. I've learned long ago that I can't have any emotional attachment to what I write. Like some of it's going to be great, some of it's going to be crap. It's volume really, and it's the amount of writing I'm doing. So I'm doing a lot of writing where I'm doing these. Like just yesterday, I was doing about 7 or 8 lines for one of my fashion retail customers, and the first line I came up with, because everybody's complaining about Amazon, I came up with, well, what if we said we're not Amazon, we're better than Bezos? Well, that fell flatter than a pancake. So then I came up with 7 more, and then the second to last one was the best. Well, with this tool now, I can actually go and get it tested without actually having to talk to people directly. I can just talk to the masses. So that's cool.
Or with that heading you just said, if it's ABC, whatever, you want to say, we are ABC, not Amazon.
Yeah.
Because if you put the most important part in the heading first,
yeah.
You know what I mean? You know where I'm going. You're a writer. You know where I'm going.
So Alanna and Vivek, I see you, but Alanna, while it's still in my mind, the code, where do you put it on the back end of your website?
I've been playing around with this since Saturday. Okay, so my idea was to master the process, document it, and I did document the process as I was quote unquote mastering it. And here's the thing, the theme I'm running is Genesis. Generate Press. I have Generate Press on that site. And so it uses elements. My Google Analytics had been set up in an element and it was working fine. As soon as I started messing around and trying to add stuff into the header, you have to add the optimized code and the tag in the header. So you have your Google Analytics in the header, then you've got your tag manager code also in the header. Then you also have this other piece of script that's in the body, just above the body tag. So I kind of the pendulum swung one way where everything was going fine, and then it went belly up, and now I'm back to square one again. So nothing seems to be working. To answer your question, I'm still not sure yet. I'm still not sure. I'm still not sure what is going to make it work. It's not recognizing my Google Analytics, but there is a website called gachecker.com where you plug in a URL and it will run a test on your whole site, which I had done. So as soon as I got this message that I can't find Google Analytics, I'm thinking, I know it's there. I know it's working. I'm getting, Google Analytics knows that I have it on there. And I ran it through the GA checker and it came up fine. So there's something not communicating and I haven't figured it out yet. So unfortunately, I can't answer your question. That's the long end of it.
Sorry.
That's the long convoluted convoluted answer. Sorry.
Okay, Vivek, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I had a question about, I mean, you showed going to the tool and editing the heading, etc., etc. Does it mean that on your actual website, there are two pages with similar content? How
I
does
don't
it?
believe so. I don't believe so. I think what Google does, and again, I haven't been able to run this test yet. So I believe that when people land on that page, it's your standard A/B test. It will show them one version. And then when someone else lands on it, it'll show that person a different version. So it's a 50-50 split. If I had more than one variant, it like right now it says 33%. So I'm going to delete the second variant here. So it's a 50-50 split. So what that means would be when they're landing on the site, 10 people, the first 20, if it's 20 people, 10 are going to get this version and 10 are going to get the other version. That's the way I anticipate it working, because it does say that it's going to be 50-50 split.
And all of the A/B testing that I've done, not with Google, but in different formats. Some website or some themes allow you to do it. Some, and other ways of doing it. Facebook does it, and so forth and so on. They show, if you have two variants, they show half the people one variant, half the people the other variant, and whoever clicks through, whoever's got the most clicks is the one that wins.
Right.
Right, and I think that you would see how that performs in your reporting. So if I was able to run this test and I ran it for a week and I came back and clicked on the reporting button to see, I'm hoping I would get some sort of geographical information, like where, not only what page they're seeing, but where they're coming from.
And that would be useful for many, in many ways. Yeah.
I can see buttons, especially when you get like into the third or fourth test of buttons that you would be, you might be audience dependent.
And
I think buttons are huge. I think, there's so many different ways to do a button, and everybody has their own philosophy on what works. And this is concrete. You get to see in black and white what's working and what's not, as opposed to someone making a theory saying, okay, this works for me, but it doesn't mean it's going to work for everyone, And
you will find that certain buttons work for certain audience. Like my
yes, exactly,
are going to be different people, and they're going to click through differently with different motivation. And then someone who's doing solar panels or doing solar stuff, they're going to be, they may like green, whereas the air fryers are like red because it motivates them more. The other one is green because they're all green people and they want to save the world. So green means good.
Right.
There is actually a guide. Let me see if I have that link. I think I do. Hold on one sec. I have that guide is listed. Oh, here it is, Quick Start. All right, so I'm going to post this. I'm going to put this in our chat, so whoever wants to drop it out into YouTube. Okay. So that's the Quick Start guide. If you wanted to have a look at that, that's the Tag Manager Quick Start.
Oh, I need to copy that.
So do I.
Are you putting it on Facebook, David, or YouTube rather?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I will just put it in my notes. Right. So Alanna, I really do appreciate your doing what you did. And this is the kind of thing that a lot of us are doing. We try things out together, and we discover what we discover, and we share it with each other, and it certainly is of great value to me. So I thank you a great deal. So
I'm going to drop in one more link. It's the Optimize It's the Optimize First Time User Guide. So that may be useful for anyone that wants to go in and set up Optimize.
Okay.
Again, if you go into your Google Analytics and see the list of all the tools that they have, you'll see Optimize there and Tag Manager, as well as Google Analytics and what else is there? There's Studio, surveys, that sort of thing, trafficking. So, I mean, there's with all those tools, you can go into Optimize and Tag Manager. The videos I've watched about this made it look really simple. So I watched the one from Google. It was a YouTube video, and basically they made it sound like all you had to do was set up an Optimize account, boom, you're done, start your testing and go. But it wasn't like that for me. You know, they forgot to mention you have to have Tag Manager and Google Analytics set up first.
Right.
So yeah, they didn't mention that at all. So
They assume that you already had it because you're a Google person, right?
I had it, but it's, yeah, I didn't have the tag. See, I have been resistant to the whole tag thing. I thought I got Google Analytics. I don't need tagging. But
Right.
now you can't use this without tagging. You have to have the Tag Manager set up. So
Useful to know. Okay, if there are no other questions, we are 5 minutes to the top of the hour. Fred, how would you like to have the last word?
Yeah, I appreciate it very much. Alanna, I thought that was excellent because it brought a lot of thoughts to mind, and I'll just share some of the things. It was a great overview, and you also said it doesn't work very easily, and that was a lesson for me as well, because I've got a couple challenges right now. I have a printer that doesn't want to print, and I've been struggling with it for sometimes hours and say, this is ridiculous. And this is what brought to mind, and I've got something else on my website, very similar, that I'm trying to sort out. And it makes me think that this is a wonderful tool, but it looks very, I guess, in depth. So there could be a business for someone just becoming an expert on using Google Analytics on A/B testing, because there's a lot of options there, and it probably is a very comprehensive product. So that comes to mind. If somebody knew this particular tool very well, there's a business for them. So that's one thing.
that's
the second
true.
thing that comes,
Yeah.
Away you go,
that you could just
Alanna.
go. No,
I
there
know the
is.
wheels
I
are
mean,
turning again.
Yeah, no, there's a business there. The
I
second
don't know.
thing
I
is,
just don't know if I want to go down that rabbit hole.
Isn't the name of your company ALB Digital?
Digital Marketing Solutions. So, you know,
ALB does AB.
Yeah. Oh, gee, there you go.
ALB
the
does AB
second thing that
testing.
comes to
Go ahead, Fred.
the second thing that comes to mind is there are times when you go down a rabbit hole and you hit a roadblock. Do I find an expert or do I continue? Because time is the only thing we have that
Right.
we can share, especially when you're a solopreneur. And you might say, okay, I don't know what to do. For example, my website challenge, I went to my support team on my ISP, my internet service provider, and said, what they're asking me to do is A, B, and C. I know it's going to take me 2 hours to work out how to do A, B, and C, and it'll take you 2 minutes because you're just familiar with it. Could you perhaps do it for me? I'm still waiting to see if they would or not, because it's probably not part of their mandate for the ISP. But I know there's people in there who would be able to, within a few buttons and a few minutes, do what I've been asked to do to sort this issue out on my website. So that's when I come down to the times where, how much time do I want to spend on this? And why would I want to do it? Do I want to become an expert or not? Because I'm going to get more rabbit holes or more challenges all along.
Yeah. I think it kind of depends. It'll depend on, you know, how important that information is to you. If you need to know it, or do you want to know it? Like for this, I'm kind of like a dog with a bone sometimes. I get into these rabbit holes and I'm determined to get out of them, and I'm determined to find my way out of them. So I will get very stubborn and I won't ask for any help. And then there's other times where I have no patience at all and I'm dialing for anybody to help me.
Yeah. So
It
that I
just
think is
depends.
yeah, that's a lesson for all of us. So what do we do when we reach these challenges? How do we cope? I think it's a good
Yeah.
lesson for any solopreneur, particularly because we have lots on our table and
Mhm.
this may take us down. The other thing, it just shows me how much Google has to offer. I mean, the fact that, and I think Vivek is a very knowledgeable Google person, and he probably would be able to comment on there are so many options now in the world of Google that it's going to be hard to know everything. I mean, it just, so those are the three things that came to mind. But overall, I thought it was wonderful that you gave us an overview. You shared with us your challenges. You opened up the world of A/B testing and why we would do it in Google. I mean, I'm familiar with A/B testing and why you do it because the company I used to work for was part of their website, always trying to optimize how many people visit, which page works, which people attracts more people, you get clicks, and how long do they stay on our website as well on that page, how long you can get all that information. And sometimes they just come and go within 10 seconds, and sometimes another page will keep them and they'll continue on your website for minutes rather than seconds.
Yeah.
So that all that's important, particularly when you're doing your marketing. So, so it was. I found it very helpful. Made me think about, Google has a lot. What do we do when we reach rabbit holes and or challenges? And there's a lot in the world of Google. It's unbelievable. So that was my
Right on.
thoughts as you were presenting.
Right on.
Thank you. Thanks for doing it.
And thanks
You're
for
welcome.
your last words, Fred. And so we're wow, are we just a little bit ahead of? We are just a little bit ahead of the game. But I think it is time for us to close the recording. I hope that you'll be able to stay a few minutes after the recording ends. I just want to let you know that it's important to do what you love with passion. And to let you know that next week's session will be about StreamYard. Talk about learning new things. We're learning new things there, aren't we? Aren't we, Dave?
Yep. There we go.
So we will see you again next week. And I need to do the outro.